welcome back to Elite Broker. I'm your host for today, Annie Kane, joined by a Sydney-based broker here in the North Sydney studio in the form of Aaron Christie-David, the broker director of Atelier Wealth. Nowadays, I mean, when you first started the brokerage 9 years ago with Bernadette, your wife, you kind of had, it was just really the two of you. And then since then, you've kind of grown the team, you've moved, you've done loads of different things. And I always think it's so interesting seeing how brokerages progress over the years. And so many brokers, particularly new ones just starting out, you know, you kind of go, I want to be hitting these numbers. I want to be doing this. I want to be maybe focusing on this area and growing my business. But then actually getting into the practical side of it and doing it, you can kind of sometimes forget, I think, where you wanted to go and what you wanted to do. Yep. Can you walk me through what your brokerage looks like now and maybe how that differs from where you thought it was going to go?
Yeah, there's no doubt there's been a few iterations in our business. Started out with myself and Bernie. We brought in her brother, Damien. And from that point on, we kind of just went hammer and tong, grew. And at that point, I think you're just starting to stack loans in. It's almost like, in a very crude way, it's a conveyor belt. Just get as much as you can in. And then we started to get niches and go, okay, there's first home buyer niches that we can talk to. There's the refinance market that we can talk to. And then there's the investor market. And I think naturally we had a gravitation towards investors. We worked very close with buyers agents. We were investing. And I think from that point on, we've really found a rhythm in our feet and a niche as well. From that point on, you grow. And I think hiring is still a dark art. I think that's, even when I speak to brokers, been around for a very, very long time, they still have problems with recruitment or onboarding and offboarding as well. I think I've learned to accept that that's par for the course. And if you want to go far, go together and try and get the right team on board. But we still will get it wrong. So I don't expect perfection in that sense. But as long as we make progress with our team, and I'd say the team that we've got are excellent. People ask me about our culture. I said, look, we'll just go through walls for each other. And that's all I can ask. I'll go through walls for them. They'll go through walls for me. And there's a level of respect that comes with that as well. So I think for me, when I look back on our journey, loans are loans. So that hasn't changed at all. What's really changed is that ability to grow with team. Broking is a team sport. I say to my team all the time, like, I have a bad day. I'm human like everyone else. I have wins, I have losses. But I can come out and just go, that didn't go well. I got my butt kicked. And they're like, don't worry about it, move on. And I think that ability to pick you up, where it was when you see new brokers or brokers that are solo, geez, man, there's no like pressure valve that you can release. You just sit and percolate on that. And Bernie will talk about that roller coaster when I was at the start, just going, the highs are highs and the lows are lows. And you can get really stuck in those lows. So for new brokers, I say have some company, whether that's you sit in another broker's office or you join forces with a few other solo brokers and you sit in a WeWork, for example, as well. But a little bit of comfort together is so much better than trying to do this individually and being stuck with your phone at home with no support system in place.
Yeah. And it's funny, I think like that's such a good piece of advice. And not everyone, as you say, can join a brokerage. They might want to build their own broker, but having that proximity to somebody else, so whether that's working in a shared space or maybe even just connecting with someone once a week to talk about what you're up to, because it can be really easy to not see the wood for the trees. You know, you don't know what you're missing. You're very lonely. You can be stuck in a rut and not know how to move past it. So having someone around you to bounce ideas from is so beneficial. And that's why, you know, we love seeing, you know, brokers at our events, whether that's industry events or the advisors events or just out and about. We love like having people come, take some time, talk to other brokers and be like, hey, just pick their brain and see what they're up to. And of course, listening to the Elite Broker podcast to find out what people are doing in their businesses. But nowadays, I think when I look at Atelier Wealth, you're really kind of filling that niche of property investment and really like wealth creation as well. So talking to investors on how they're actually building portfolios. You mentioned about working very closely with buyers agents there. And this is something that we're talking about at the new Broker Academy this year, looking at referral partnerships and building referral networks and how you can actually, I think, create ones that last a long time, but also are beneficial for both parties. So when you look at working with buyers agents, for example, what do you look for in a referral partner and how do you show your value to your referral partners? Yeah,
like any business, we're looking for integrity, values match, for example, as well. Yeah, I think what we value is like loose lips will sink ships. And when they talk bad about clients, they I don't know, and buyers agents will test us going, where are other buyers agents buying? We say, look, we're under non-disclosure, for example. They respect that. So there has to be a symbiotic relationship. I think the big thing for us was we were referring out a lot to buyers agents. They appreciate that because most brokers are going, feed me leads. And we're just like feeding them business. So some of our BAs, we've fed them a lot of business. Now, I don't track that. We don't have referral partnerships in place. All I know is that the ledger's slightly uneven, that we've fed them a lot of business, and they almost had that law of reciprocity where they start to send business back to us and we're getting a feel for each other. We can solve the problems that they've got. So buyers, agents, clients want to keep scaling portfolios. I can solve that. I can go, right, we're going to strip the equity, we're going to go here, we're going to go to these lenders, create a roadmap, for example, and the buyers, agents are loving it because we've unlocked that next level for their clients to scale the portfolio, which is what they've originally come to the BA for.
Yeah.
Same with an accountant. It's like, right, client wants to set up an SMSF. They want to go buy this many properties, for example. Here's what we're doing from a strategy perspective. Are you okay with that? And when we have this team harmony around the clients, the clients here and we've got the right professionals around them, it really, again, goes back to that team sport analogy where we're singing off the same hymn sheet. We're not trying to go one up the accountant or we're not trying to go behind the financial plan. We're like, hey, mate, the client's at the center of this. We're trying to solve a problem together. What's your unique perspective and how we're going to solve this as well? So I feel like that's our X factor when we come to the table, just going, hey, mate, we've solved bigger problems here. We've got a can-do attitude. Give us a problem, we'll solve it. And we're not putting our biases in here. I think that's sometimes where I hear like clients come from other brokers where they're like, the broker said, nah, LMI is you don't pay LMI or you shouldn't be buying that investment property. We're here to enable, we're here to grow. And so when you have that ethos, you're going to attract other businesses that want to grow as well. And I think that's where we've probably hit some success.
Yeah. And you talked there about, obviously looking at like how your referral partners, your buyer's agents are kind of working with you as well, like what you're getting back as well. But is that an important factor when you're actually establishing the first relationship? Do you go, I want to see this many clients back from you or anything like that? Do you have any kind of like firm quid pro quo kind of, I guess, contracts in place?
No, we just went in going, we want the client to win because if they're growing their portfolio, we're going to naturally ride their coattails. If the BA's doing really well, they're going to remember that we've been part of their journey and success. So I think for us, we've had that real, I call it the win-win-win mindset. So the client wins, we win, our referral partners win as well. And, rising tide will lift all ships. So from my perspective, we used to track referrals down. I was probably really fortunate that I used to be part of like one of the big BNI groups in Sydney. So I learnt this very early on in my career. I learned this ability to refer out, like look for opportunities. Hey, I haven't heard back from my accountant. Okay, great. Why not? They're a little bit sleeping at the wheel. Speak to this accountant, for example, and then you find the right partners and you can have better conversations when you're talking to prospective referral partners going, here's my ideal client and we've niched down into this particular type of investor. They're like, oh yeah, I know someone like that. And the referrals become easier to send because you're very, very niched in who you can work with rather than being a generalist broker and like, who do I send you? And it's a bit hit and miss sometimes as well.
Yeah. And I think the other thing with buyer's agents particularly is that a lot of brokers might be a bit hesitant to choose one because they're like, well, how do I know they're kosher? Because it's not like as regulated as other places. I don't even know. You might need a license.
You need a license. Yeah. But yeah, look, it's like brokers. Barriers to entry are fairly low.
Yeah. So how do you choose one that is a good one?
You're looking for where they're giving that strategic property advice to a client. They're not just buying. And I think that takes a little bit of time because we could then look at BAs who are getting really, really good results when we do our annual reviews or the client wants to revalue, pull the equity and go again. So we got a real feel for which were the BAs that were getting some incredible results versus the ones that weren't. They were just one and done from a property perspective and the client really has this impetus to grow. So I think we really looked at our partners and go, these are the partners that are getting some great results, double down on those relationships. And it's an ability. Sometimes you just got to grab a lunch together. Sometimes you got to get to know their team as well. My team has to get to know their team so our team doesn't feel like there's friction when they're chasing us up, for example. And you have these growing pains, right? In any type of any relationship, whether that's formal partners or business partners, for example. And I think for us, we've just been able to call things out. They might be chasing us up like, dude, we've got this. You don't need to chase us up. They're trying to figure us out and we're trying to feel them out. And that just takes time. So to go to your point when we talk about probably at the new Broker Academy, it's being a little bit patient as well. Like there'll be early red flags, like, and again, in any relationship where you can see they're not getting back to clients. The emails aren't very professional, for example, they're not giving good advice, you're a bit doubtful. That's probably red flag to cut and move on. And then there's the green flags where you're like, these guys know what they're doing. And we've got partners that are shutting their books, for example, they're so busy. And I'm like, that's a sign of maturity that they're not willing to take anyone else on for a time being. They've got to clear the decks, they've got to sort their own processes out and then come back when they're ready. We've gone through waves like that where like, we can't accept referrals because we don't want to burn those relationships. And that, again, it's hard to do.
Yeah.
But it's a little bit of maturity to go, hey mate, we're over capacity. Just let us sort this out and we'll come back.
If you don't mind, I wouldn't mind asking you a little bit more about how you've done that because I think a lot of brokers over years will stop and start like the flow of business, maybe rethink what they're doing, maybe change their niche. We spoke to a couple of brokers for the Better Business Summit recently, and one broker, Melissa Gielnik, was talking about how she actually pretty much downsized her business for a few years. You know, she had like young kids and then kind of reignited and redeveloped it once the kids were a bit older, and she was like willing to kind of put back her concentration and able to put back her concentration full time into the job. So I think being able to scale up and scale down businesses at different times is really interesting. Yeah. And I just wonder how you guys did it. Like, how long were you scaled down for? What did that look like? And then how did you and why did you ramp back up again?
It's a season in business, Annie. And I think we spoke about, like, Bernie and I run the business together, husband and wife, 2 small babies. Then we had COVID, for example. And I was working like a demon. And I think it's what I call the success tax. We paid the success tax in our relationship. It was not fun. Like, I'm working a lot. Bernie's at home, and Bernie was then managing, seeing clients as well. We're like, this is not what we set out to achieve. This is not the order. Our priorities are wrong here. And I think it took us having a really good, honest discussion going, what do we truly value here as a business and as a couple? And which comes first? And family came first for us. I said, right, Bernie comes out of client-facing work. And we're in a season of just going, hey, we're going to enjoy our life. And there was a season where I worked 4 days a week and I had Thursdays off with Sienna and Zara, for example, and we'd do our daddy day thing, and that was mum's day. She went to work and I had the girls, and I don't do that anymore. I'm hammer and tong in the business. The team have my focus, and I've tried other things, and I think it's okay to try other things. I tried coaching and doing broker coaching, probably not my style, and I've had to realize that as well. And I think being okay with having seasons, like I look at Melissa's business, and that's a mature business. You can't compare that to a new broker. A new broker has to go hammer and tong, go see as many people as you can, get as many coffee meetings, get as many referral partners, talk to as many clients as you can. Melissa's challenge would be retention, or trying to make sure that there's continuity in her business as well, but she's probably come back for that next wave. And I think that's where we've been, which is we had really good success. It came at the cost of probably me being around, being present, probably to switch off a little bit as well, because you're always on. And then to build walls around my time, get an EA, for example, and then go, right, that's an investment into the business and my time. And then I can go again for that next iteration in the business. And that's probably where we're at this next inflection point going, I really got my mojo back. I definitely went through a period of burnout. You just lose a little bit of that love. We can get you pulled in different directions as well. You're probably doing too much, lacking the focus. And we said, right, let's just galvanize this focus. What do we actually need to do in this business? And not hard. Sort out loans, solve problems, manage our team, be there to support them. The rest will take care of itself.
Yeah. And I think this is, again, like such a key part of being a small business owner is like actually going, I'm doing everything, and maybe not even realizing how long you're working or how hard you're working, or that maybe you've lost some of the love for the job that you started out with until actually, you kind of get to a crisis point. So I think good for you for actually taking some time and you and Bernie like chatting about what your priorities and thinking about that. Did you actually kind of write a list of like, these are the core values we have that we're not going to compromise on? Like, how do you actually even have that kind of breakdown of process, I suppose, and figure out what you want to be doing?
We're really fortunate. We've always been big into like that self-development. So that's not a new concept for us. Like Bernie and I did Tony Robbins years ago. So you look at your wheel of life, and we'll do that very, very consistently, where we know what our top values in life are. So for example, we both value health and fitness and training, for example. So the second that falls off, doesn't matter how much money's in the bank, at that point we'd be unhappy. Just going, we're not training, we're not able to go and exercise, for example. What's the point in working this hard? So then we'll find a sweet spot where we can bring it back, and we're training pretty consistently as well. We get the juices going, like, right, we can come back into the business, and then we'll sprint. Now with the girls' school holidays, we'll sprint 10 weeks, get to school holidays, switch off, for example. The girls have our undivided attention. And I think that also comes with a level of support. So say, for example, at home, it sounds, I don't know, I'm a migrant. So to me to say that I've got house help can be a bit of a flex. But, we've got someone that comes in, cleans and folds and irons and does a lot of our laundry, for example. And the garden guy, Tim comes in and does the gardening. That creates opportunities for employment. So I don't get much enjoyment out of that.
Yeah.
That gives them enjoyment, and the pie just gets bigger for us. And I think we've learned to like look at our lives going, okay, the weekends, it's family time. We're not spending that doing chores, for example, and we have undivided attention for each other as well. And that's been, again, an iteration in our life where now we've got the means and the ability to do that. Probably about 5-6 years, we probably didn't, And I think for us, we're just learning to enjoy the ride. And that's a big part. So when you talk about, hey, look, have you looked at your life and you put your values and priorities? Yeah, mate, we have, Bernie and I have our own professional coaches, and not in the business sense, but in the personal sense. And I've interviewed Jody on my own podcast as well. talking about the work that I have to do on myself because I have this unlimited hunger. Like it'll never be enough. You know, I could always have a bigger business. I could always have something else. And at what point do you just stop and go, no, I should be really, really grateful for what we've done and achieved. And we talk back and reflect on the 9 years that we've had our business. Like this morning, I'm driving in on the Harbour Bridge. And I'm like, this is insane.
Yeah.
Like, people come from across the world to go across the Harbour Bridge. And here I'm driving across it and I could see it nearly every day if I wanted to. And at those points, you got to pinch yourself going, man, we've come a long way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. And the kind of the idea of as well of just like, you know, remembering where we are. Australia, I agree. I'm one of the people that moved across the other side of the world to be here.
How good is this country?
So good. So clean, so beautiful. I love Australia, obviously. But I think having like that kind of space to be able to think about what you're doing, what you're wanting, what's important to you, and then building a business that doesn't compromise on those things can be really challenging. So having that kind of time to actually think about it. You mentioned there about having professional coaches. Do you and Bernie have different ones?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So how did you choose one? Why bring one in the first place?
I feel it's the only really way to move the needle. Like I know technically what I need to do in my business, and we've had business coaches, and I think it got us this far with the business. Not that we know everything in business, but it got us to this point where I think we're pretty comfortable. But where we really want to see movement is probably inwardly and being the best version of ourselves. And if we can come to the table as the best version of ourselves, our relationships then going to prosper off the back of that, and our girls going to have really, really good role models. I think that's probably where put a big mirror against Bernie and I, going, our identities have changed. That we would double income, no kids, could do whatever we wanted, and now we've got 2 girls. And I always come back to this saying, you can't be what you can't see. And if we want our girls to grow up as resilient, if we want our girls to grow up as confident, if we want our girls to grow up thinking that you can do anything, we've got to show them that. We've got to model that behavior as well. It's like how we talk to each other, how we talk to ourselves, for example, the internal chatter, how we treat each other, because you can come home and you can be burnt out from it. I'll tell you now, Annie, no one ever told me that if you stacked that many calls into a week of new inquiries and your diary is jam-packed, you couldn't come home and read a story to your kids. Like I literally could not talk. My voice was gone. I had no energy. I was like, this isn't right. Like again, the leftovers of me as well. So, okay, how do I build walls? Okay, don't take meetings after 3:00 on a Friday, no meetings on a Thursday, and just reverse engineer my life to go, okay, I can work hard and I can play hard as well. And again, I talk about success tax. That's one version of that. For example, I talk to brokers where their relationship's fallen over. They've gone all in on the business, and Bernie's been very, very good at that and telling me, going, the awards mean nothing. With all due respect, like we can't eat it. The awards mean nothing if we don't have a strong relationship, and we're not there to model that good behavior for the girls. And I think that's probably to me, that's probably been that little uppercut that I needed sometimes to go, what are my true values and priorities here? Yeah. That I can still be the best version in business, but also be the best version of me at home.
Yeah. And I think we've talked actually a lot so far, not really about broking, just about kind of life but I think being a business owner and what it is. And so much of what we do here on The Advisor, I think, is really about obviously championing brokers who are at the top of their game and doing amazing things, and making sure it's not at a cost. And,
100%.
We do like Wellness Wednesdays on social media just to have a little reminder to be like, what are you doing for you? Make sure you kind of look after yourself. So we always ask the question, what do brokers do to unwind and de-stress? And that's partly to be like a little weekly reminder for people to actually do it. But also because I'm just massively curious and want to know what people do for their hobbies and like to unwind. Because even for myself, it's good advice. It's a good reminder. What do you guys do to take your mind off things, to unwind, to de-stress?
Kids are a very good chance to take your mind off things, because when they're with you, they want you. And I think that's probably that's been great for us. Personally, I love to train. So for me, that's non-negotiable. I usually get up early mornings, go to the gym. Not crazy. I'm usually in the gym by about 6. Come home, breakfast with the girls. We invested heavily into our well-being. So last year we bought a sauna and an ice bath for home as well. And that's something that we do. I can jump in the sauna at say 8 o'clock at night, 9 o'clock at night. I have some quiet time to myself as well. So put the girls down, be around. I can have some quiet time, and Bernie can go off and do her own thing as well. We will spend time on holidaying. And when I say holidaying, the laptop and the phone do not come with us as well. And that's, again, part of this progression in our business to go for the team, mate, when you get your leave, you put an out of office on, you get to switch off, and the same respect goes both ways as well. And I think that's been really, really fundamental to us, where we actually switch off, have a break, and I'm not checking emails. Yeah. I'll do it only if I absolutely have to or need to or want to, but I'm not doing it because, mate, I'm handcuffed to the business as well. And that's probably given us this time off out of the business that we can really, really enjoy it. And the other part that I do to relax is I'll read. And I'm a true believer that readers are leaders. And learners are earners. And so for me, doesn't matter what book, I'm big into like business books, self-help, self-development. So I'll read a fair bit too.
So you mentioned there about being on holiday, being able to structure your team so that you can take a break. So who now does what at Atelier Wealth? How many people are there and what do they do?
Yeah, cool. So I think the team at the moment sits about 22. We're going through a fairly strong recruitment phase at the moment for our like I said, that next level of growth for us. But we went hard. We went probably a little bit too thin. We had about 5 brokers all throwing deals in the mix. It probably got scaled chaos. And we said, right, we're going to strip this back. So as it stands today, it's myself and Damien as the 2 key brokers. Underneath us, we've got credit analysts. It's what I'd call loan strategists. Yeah. Now they have brokers in their own right. They've got their broking codes, for example. But we said, learn everything from us. Like we've got the depth and breadth of clients that are coming to us. Learn and see everything. So underneath us, we've got credit analysts. Then we've got our team that are based in the Philippines that will, once a loan structured and the lender selected, apply online, push it through to lenders. We've got a client services manager that will take our clients all the way through from submission through to settlement. They're supported by a team member in the Philippines, again, calling banks, a lot of the back-end work as well. And then we've got post-settlement, so anything that goes loan reviews, loan repayment summaries, for example, fixed interest only roll-offs too. So it's what I call a pod. The client comes in, Damien and I will have our intro calls, figure out what problems we're trying to solve, structuring, submission, settlement, post-settlement.
Yeah, that's quite a lot of people, 22. Like that's for 2 brokers. That feels like quite admin heavy.
It is because I like the broker's time should be spent talking to clients. Yeah. And I mean, in that team, we've got an admin assistant as well that writes our birthday cards, our thank you cards that will never go out of fashion. The lowest, that's what I tell every broker. I'm like, mate, the best thing we've ever done is do birthday cards and thank you cards. A marketing assistant in the mix as well. What else have we got? Yes, I feel like we're running this as a business that happens to do loans, for example, and it's like who plays. And the analogy that I use for anyone coming in, it's like an F1 pit crew. The left tire guy just changes the left tires. The right tire guy changes that tire, for example. And you get really, really good at your specialization in our team, know that part and be able to hand it across.
Yeah, I think there's actually 22 people in a F1 pit crew as well.
There we go.
So, yeah. I have to fact check that. I'll double check, but I'm pretty sure it's around that number. And when you look at then the volume of business you're doing, like how many loans do you reckon you write a year?
Oh, I wouldn't know the number. I'd say like we're probably on track. We do somewhere like 350, for example, mil. I don't get attached to that number. I just know that and that number's light because I took a good chunk of last year off, for example. So for me, now that I'm back on, Bernie and I actually just going through our budget to reset for the next financial year, putting really clear targets, KPIs for all our team members as well. And again, this is me not working insane hours. Yeah. Or Damien, for example, it's like, hey, there's core hours, for example, and we want to get home and still have a good life as well. And so trying to get that balance back, we need more hours in the day, and the only way we can have more hours in the day is by having more team. Yeah. That's the equation.
Yeah. And that's, again, like sounds like I'm sure many people listening to this will be very envious of being like, oh, I want my business to get there too. And I'd love to be able to have some time off.
I'll tell you what, Annie, I open my doors to anyone that's willing to come in, and I've been really fortunate that when I reached out to say like a Jeremy Fisher or Daniel O'Brien, they said, as long as you can get here, I'll show you everything you want to know. They literally showed me everything. And I think that attitude of being such an open book, I would happily, and I do open my doors to anyone that wants to come in. You just got to come down the coast for where we are. Yeah. And I'll show you everything that we do. There's no secrets that I'm going to hold on to, sit on. Mate, take it. Get your business to be bigger and better, and we'll all win off the back of it.
Yeah. It's funny that you said, you took some downtime last year because you actually also released a book last year.
Yes.
You've been ramping up your podcast. So you kind of say you took some time out, but not really. Doing other things. So you wrote the Happy Home Loan Handbook.
I did.
Which you very kindly gave to me. I've had a read of it. I actually devoured it the same day I got it.
There
I read
you go.
The whole
you did
thing.
Come to the launch, so thank you. I appreciate your support.
Read it on the ferry, going past the Opera House on the way back home, and then finished it that evening. And I actually really enjoyed it, firstly, for a couple of things. Firstly, because I think the tone of the book is almost as it says on the front cover. It's happy. Like it's about what does your home loan enable you to do that you want to do to make your life better. But also I think that it sounds like you. It sounds approachable, which I think is also really great to see when you can hear someone's voice through their writing, which obviously as a journalist, my whole thing. But yeah, so you wrote the book, the Happy Home Loan Handbook. Do you just give this to clients? Has it been like a lead generation source? Like why write it? What do you hope it achieves?
Yeah, I can't talk to first home buyers one-on-one. That's the truth. I really specialize in helping property investors, but I've got all this knowledge from all my years of helping first home buyers. So this condenses down, I'd say like years of conversations that I don't have landed. So when you talk about the way it's written, these are conversations that I've had, and it's probably when I got feedback from the publishers going, this is far too conversational. I'm like, this is how I talk to people. So I know that this is a true blueprint for helping people get into the market, particularly when the rhetoric in the media is it's impossible to buy your first home. And I called BS on that. It's probably what really got me going. Again, Bernie being the weapon in my life that she is, going, don't just bitch about it, do something about it. And that's where I picked up the phone and called the publisher and said, I think I've got an idea here, and they saw value and merit in it too. And I think it comes down to it's an attitude. Home buying, property investing is purely an attitude, and we project those attitudes as their broker going, hey, it's possible. On my watch, anything's possible. We'll find a way to do it. And so this is my gift to first home buyers, because I can't deal with you one-on-one, but here's a way to get you. And first home buyers, when they get me one-on-one, I'm like this, the conversation is a bit too fast for them to stop and absorb it.
Yeah.
So if you can read it, absorb it, the questions just get better when they come back through to us going, oh, you mentioned about LMI, for example, you mentioned about this. Okay, tell us a little bit more. And so it raises the bar on the conversations that we're having, rather than does it come with an offset account, for example. And I think that's changed that conversation, that paradigm that we're having with clients going, the ethos is how incredibly rewarding and what an achievement is to buy your own home in Australia. What an achievement. Like, that's not lost on me. And when politicians are talking about, hey, we're going to do something to solve the housing crisis, you know what? Brokers are doing that.
Love that so much. And do you find now that people are approaching you and being like, hey, I read the book, can you please be my broker? And especially if you're not doing first home buyer loans, or not specializing in it at least, do you hand that over to Damien, or do you kind of are you segregating the client base out that way?
Yeah, if they go in and book through the website, that first home buyer calls go exclusively to Damien.
Yeah.
Yeah, if someone refers, one of my clients refer their kids to me, I'll do it. Absolutely. They won't say no, but I'm just like, we're going to move, Why wouldn't you act on this idea, this opportunity as well? So yeah, Damien's well-versed. He's a mini version in terms of how I'd operate as well. Yeah, he's bought his first home, so there's a level of empathy. So I think there's empathy, there's education. We've got the blueprint to do it as well. So when clients are coming to us, we're like, hey, why wouldn't you take this opportunity to buy your first home? Here's how you can do it. I think when we're having such a really a clear conversation, but also a positive conversation, they're feeding off our confidence as well, going, yeah, this is possible, I can do it. While everyone else in their circle is just going, woe is me, we'll never buy a home. They're going, mate, let's buy you first, and then we'll get you buy another property after that as well.
Yeah. And now you also have a podcast as well that you do. It specializes in property investment.
Yes.
I've actually listened to a couple of those episodes too. And I think that, again, is really interesting looking at not only, because you're not talking to, necessarily just one aspect of property investment. It's like buyers agents or referrals or clients or, CEOs of companies, like kind of everyone in between. Do you find that, again, is that mostly done as a lead generation source?
Inadvertently, it does become a lead generation source, because that's people's touch point that they've got with us. It is a very much an educational platform, and I kept it that way. I didn't even ask for people to reach out. I think only in the last probably 6 months that I say, hey, look, if you're struggling, because people then just reach out and go, listen to your podcast. That's when I knew we were having conversations that were landing and really resonating with listeners. And that's when I really kind of just said, open the door going, hey, if you're struggling with your broker, if you're struggling to build a portfolio, reach out. On our watch, we'll help you to grow. And that probably, because I just gave so much content, it didn't feel like a salesy funnel, like put your email address in here and then we'll just like put you through a click funnel, for example. We'll just give you content. If it lands, awesome, reach out. And I think I'm a little bit like that way. I'm not a salesy dude. I'm just like, hey, help me solve some problems, and naturally just going to attract more people that way as well. And I think the guests that we've had on there, I pinch myself sometimes about the guests that we've had on there, the traction when people reach out, I'm like, and they've spent so many hours, sinking their teeth into our content. I'm like, hey, there's a bit of responsibility that now comes with producing good content. Be like what you do, right? Going, it's not just content for content's sake. That's actually not the goal here at all. It's quality over quantity. It's finding messages that land. We're not trying to promote other businesses on here. So it's very pure in that sense, but it's also having a bit of fun with it. And I think that's probably where we've just shifted and just relaxed a little bit with the podcast, going, this thing's got a really good engaged audience, for example. And now we just want to continue with that teaching through education.
Yeah. And I think that's, again, so amazing seeing what brokers do each and every day and how much knowledge you guys have. So being able to amplify that and be like, I can help other people beyond my own network, I can go nationally, I can go internationally, help people who are listening overseas. So I think that's really exciting. Is that how you now typically get most of your new business? Is it through the book and the podcast and your existing client base? Do you do any other advertising or any other community engagement?
No, the only other one, community is a big one actually. We launched this very, very recently, which is taking people off the podcast and now putting into what I call our Property Accelerator program. And that is a group that meets online once a month, and it's the power of community. So it's other investors that are on the journey to grow and build their portfolio, because like broking and trying to be top tier, it can be a bit lonely. Like who actually shares those challenges? So when you get to a point in your business going, who's writing, I don't know, top 100, and that's their problems that are exclusive to that cohort. And when we look at our investor group, when they're trying to get to 6 properties in 1 year, everyone else in their social circle is going to berate them because Australians can't buy 1 property, let alone 6 in 1 year, and 6 then puts them in the top 1% of property investors. What? We're going to put our clients in the top 1%? And so that type of success is uncommon in their circle. So what we said is, hey, we've got other clients here that are trying to do some amazing things. You're trying to, and so we built this. It just naturally happened where I'm like, we started connecting clients with one another saying, don't even believe us. Let's show what they've done. And we've just been trying it. And so we meet once a month. I pull the hood back on a couple of scenarios, showing clients how we structure deals, for example. We're going to bring in guests. So I feel like this is the podcast on the next level, which is a bit more intimate. And now we're going to run the second cohort as well. And it's like, it's not to beat my chest, but I'm like, find me a brokerage in Australia that has the podcast, the book, the community, the engagement. And we're trying to get to like uncommon territory and rare air with our business, just to go, it's not to flex on other brokers or brokerages, it's just to go, this is what you get when you come to us. We're more than just loans.
Yeah. It's funny as well, talking about, the kind of the stigma, I suppose, of property investment at the moment in Australia, as you say there, you can be berated for trying to buy a house. Yeah. How dare you want to buy more than 1 property? But I think also the conversation we're hearing a lot about is, saying, well, that's one element of it, but also people saying it's too hard to get onto the ladder because it's either too expensive or serviceability is too tight or there's undersupply. What do you see happening in the property market at the moment? Like from your perspective as a broker, like are you seeing that people are finding it difficult to get into market? Are they able to? What's your thought on where we are at the moment?
Best time. It's probably not the message that lands. Again, this is the best time to be buying. And people think they missed the boat. I'm like, look, on my watch, you are buying property. And it doesn't matter if you missed the boat. I had a guy yesterday, 49 years old, feels like he's missed the boat. I'm like, mate, I'm telling you, we've got 10 years. You've got 10 good years of work left. We can make up for lost time.
What, 59? He's finishing work at 59?
Well, that's the goal, right?
Gosh.
We're going to stack his portfolio, go to acquisition phase, for example, build it up over 10 years, selectively sell down some assets, realize his net passive income goal as well. That means we work very, very close with like your buyer's agent, for example. Hey, mate, we've got the loan strategy. You've got the property strategy. Here's what the client's looking to do. Let's go. And I feel that comes down to an attitude. It really comes down to an ethos and attitude as a broker going, mate, we're here to get people to have the best version of their lives that possible. And that really gets unlocked financially. Like, you know it. When things are working well financially, life is pretty good. Yeah. I've been places at the very start of the business where there was no money. That's changed. And my life has changed off the back of that as well. And I'm trying to tell clients, again, we go back to this Australia being the best country. You're telling me with the lending options that we've got in this country, people can't buy more property? I call BS on that. 100%. If you know your policy, if you know your trade, you should be able to help people buy property. Get it revalued. We'll do multiple valuations, take the equity, go again. I don't care, mate. We're getting clawed back because we're doing it within 18 months, no doubt. That doesn't matter. The client's the winner off the back of that. We tell them the deal around clawback so they understand that. But they're winning and they're going to tell more people like them, and our business benefits off the back of that. So I really feel like home buying, again, goes back to that. Home buying is an attitude, property investing is an attitude. If as a broker you're not projecting that, the client may outgrow you. And that's probably what scared me at the start of my journey, which was I was losing clients. Yeah. And they were going to other brokers that could find ways to do it. I was like, how are they doing it? I didn't get bitter that I lost the deal. I just found a way to get better. And I'm going, right, on my watch now, like we shouldn't be losing clients. Mate, we'll lose clients. There's no doubt about it. Their mate's a broker, but we'll drop the ball somewhere. We're human. But on the whole, I generally say our team are problem solvers and loan strategists, and that's the identity that we've given our team and ourselves. So when people come on our watch, mate, we've got to find ways to scale portfolios.
Yeah, love that. Get better, not bitter. And then when you think about, this election we just had on 3rd of May, we're all really focused about housing. We knew it was going to be an election about housing. They've been talking about it for ages. We've been talking about it, obviously, on The Advisor and for years after the boom of 2022. So, 2020, 2022. So kind of looking at, what is it that's going to be made available to buyers, whether that's first home buyers or property investors? What were your thoughts on the different measures? So let's say, the coalition had the mortgage tax deductibility scheme. There was the 50,000K for super. Yeah. Greens wanted to get rid of negative gearing. The Labour Party was saying, we'll expand out, remove the caps for the home guarantee schemes. What did you think about all the policies? Do you think they were good, bad, net good? Who were your faves? Who were your least faves? Why?
I think they're all great ideas in the sense that, they're obviously throwing political carrots out there and dangling that, and it's not going to appeal to everyone. But it does something. It gives some people some hope. Yeah. So where I've got the issue with the caps, or when they had the caps, was it ruled some people out. Why are we putting caps for first home buyers? If they've got the ability to get in the market, regardless of income, give them the opportunity to get in, give them the stamp duty exemptions, whatever we can do to help people get in, because that's the biggest challenge. First home buyers generally have a deposit challenge. Otherwise, we're saying go back to the banker, mum and dad, and that creates an uneven playing field. So from my perspective, all policies that they throw out there are good. At this stage, they're ideas. They've got to get enacted. They've got to get rolled out. So that's the part where I say to people, if you're waiting for the government to help you, I think that's a very poor strategy. I think when you've handballed your problems to the government to solve, you're not taking responsibility in your own life. And again, that can be a polarizing message, but it gets cut through in the sense that it's going, hey, don't wait. Go and buy what you can, when you can, where you can, for example, at a time that's right. And I genuinely feel for people that are waiting on the government for legs up or doors to open, because, man, the only person that can control the destiny of future is yourself. Like when brokers were like complaining about clawbacks, I'm like, you know what? I provision for clawback, I budget for it. With all due respect, the MFAA and FBAA, their role isn't to see the end of clawback. That's not the only thing they're working on. Just like the federal government, the only thing they're working on is housing affordability. No, mate, they've got a country to run. Trade tariffs with Trump, for example. Defense, like how much billions with a B they're spending on defense, billions. And we're worried about trying to get your one home in, whatever suburb it is. It's like, mate, Australia's got bigger problems to solve than just one problem for households. Now I get it. Housing's, one of those big political handballs, but man, take the control back, put the onus on your back to get your problem solved. And I think when I tell that to clients, like, I think it takes a little while for that sting to come out of that message. But on my watch, we should be able to find ways, whether that's through a scheme or a grant or a CMG, whatever it is, or if it's, hey, mate, suck it up and pay the LMI and get in. You know what? Housing growth at 8-10% a year and LMI's 2%, mate, you've made it back within 4 months, 3 months. And they're like, okay, fair enough.
Yeah. I think that's a good one. And no one likes to be told, just do something about it. Whether it's like go to the gym to lose weight, you're like, oh, I'd rather actually just take a pill rather than go and do something, like there's always, people want shortcuts. They want something to be handed to them rather than having to actually do something. Yeah. But I think this is again where, it's so great to have brokers who are able to provide the information and the advice and the credit knowledge to their home loan clients and property clients about what they're doing to take the next step. So, Aaron, you mentioned about all the things you've been doing. You've got this renewed verve and vigour. You recently went around the country with the FBAA.
Yes.
You were speaking. I didn't actually manage to see any of your speaking sessions, but I did see a lot of it on social media. So I feel like I was there.
Totally.
What were you talking about? And is that something now that you kind of want to be doing more of, like the speaking circuit?
Look, I love giving back purely because this industry has given me so much. So I feel like I've got a responsibility to give back. So when, for example, I joined the New Broker Academy years ago, right? I was like, any opportunity that I can share my wisdom and knowledge and experience, I'll give it away because I want to see people do well. Going around the country, particularly when I travel with Christie-David and Reedham side, for example, I've got to hang around some people that are doing some pretty good stuff in the industry. And in my business, I can be the smartest dude in the room, right? Whereas hanging out with them, for example, what are you guys doing there? What's that, for example? And I was like, I learned a lot. And then as I went around the country speaking to a lot of brokers, something that really dawned on me is I probably shouldn't be up on this stage, in the sense that I've been broking for less than 10 years, or thereabouts, first generation migrant. How does this stuff happen? And I think at that point, that's where I was speaking to you before we jumped in here. That's probably where I got my mojo back. And my younger brother, Sean, a lot of people know my little brother for having restaurants across Sydney and what he does there as well, really impactful restaurants and hospitality. And with the work that he does with refugees, again, it's probably given me this uppercut to go, geez, man, what a country we live in. And within 10 years of me being in this industry, I can put myself in the, top 1% of income earners, top 1% of this industry, top 1% of property investors, top one. And I'm like, what? You can do that within 10 years? So my message that I was saying is, how do you unleash this potential that you have within you and your brokerage, which then feeds your team, feeds your clients, for example. I really spoke about unlocking that power, that you are your best asset, for example. Don't invest in shares, invest in yourself. And I shared with brokers, here's how we've done it in our business. For example, growth comes from discomfort, and a bit more in like the structure of our team. But really the big message that brokers should have got from that is, hey mate, if you're turning up and spending this time in a PD day, why are you wasting it? Why aren't you writing notes, for example? Why aren't you making the most of this? And what they call it, shelf help, where you can just pick books off and not actually absorb it and do anything with that information. That's a tragedy. Like execution is where this game is won and lost. And I probably can be fairly direct. And that's probably why I don't work in coaching, because I'm like so direct to the point that I'm like, come on, mate, like do it today. And I'd say there was a handful of brokers that would send me messages going within the first 24 hours, hey mate, I've done this. I was like, you're going places. And I really give massive kudos to the FBAA for organising. That's the first time they've sold out every event across the country. The engagement was incredible. The other boys, the content was, again, just giving away all our secrets. Again, we don't want secrets. We want people to do really, really well. There was no commercial benefit off the back of that for us. And it was just a really pure message to go, come on, I think we're all capable of more.
Yeah, I love that. And if you haven't already listened to the podcast we did with Christian and Redom at the beginning of the year when they did Flint 2.0, then we'll leave that in the show notes below, as well as actually the ones with Jeremy Fisher and Daniel O'Brien you mentioned earlier too.
There you go.
I haven't talked to Daniel in a while. Probably should revisit some of those too.
Good dudes.
So looking forward then, what's your plan for the brokerage and where you want to do? Like 2025, we're already almost halfway through the year.
Yeah.
Can't believe that. What are your plans the next 6 months, next financial year?
Yeah, to me, there's probably about 4 key projects that we've got on the go at the moment. One is our marketing. So our podcast, our assets, for example, is now doubling down on that. We know it's landing 80-20 rule. We know the 20% that's absolutely going gangbusters. Let's double down on that. YouTube's probably our next big frontier. I think that's real estate that we haven't mined enough as well. So we'll go hammer and tong on our marketing. The next one's around team. So I've been very much strong in recruitment. Our team will look very different at the end of the year. We're adding some really key seats, for example.
Brokers or back office support?
No, support with a view that we can nurture talent. I've spoken very openly about probably one of the Achilles heels of our industry is talent. And so we've got like a real strong pathway program. So getting analysts to come in, become loan strategists with a view that if they do want to move into broking, they've got that. I want them to be strong brokers. I don't want them to be mediocre. So sit, shadow, listen to all my calls, take my notes, do the strategies, present it back to the client, run them through to settlement so you know all the kinks that happen along the way with different banks. And that's where really we're developing our team. So it's going to take me more into that leadership while still kind of the reins with clients as well. So it'll really challenge me. AI is a big one for us. Bernie's running AI, a lot of our projects, integrations. I can't believe it, how much data entry still happens in 2025. I don't make that the bank's problem. That's our problem to solve, for example. Just like people complain about being on hold for 2 hours with the bank, that's not their problem to solve. That's our problem. Then get someone else that can do it on a lower hourly rate, for example. Or
maybe soon AI will be able to do it for you.
100%. Or just run 3 or 4 phones, for example, and just have them on hold. Yeah. So you got to think a little bit differently, solve your own problems. And I tell that to the team. Don't let someone else solve those problems. Put it with us. And you get paid more to be a problem solver. And the last one's around our HQ, so our office. So our premises at the moment is okay. It's not a high performance environment. So we're investing very, very heavily into our new office. We're building a podcast studio for content. That's a great partnership opportunity with a really key real estate agent down in the Illawarra as well. And I think for us, we're not looking for street frontage for leads. We're looking for a high performance environment for our team to come in and do their best work as well.
Yeah, love that. Love that. And you want to have an office where people want to come as well,
Oh, totally. I think that's probably environment dictates performance, Annie. And when I look at our current office, it's cute, it's tucked away. At one stage we were super casual. And I was like, no, this isn't us. This doesn't match with the brand. The brand is high performance. So of course, a little bit like fine dining in mortgage broking, for example. We want to serve that type of clientele. And this isn't the audio is not matching the video.
Yeah.
And I mentioned before that was a white elephant for us where we bought this office. I wasn't going to move in. I retreated from the business a little bit, got my mojo back. And I was like, right, this is a sizable investment. For example, the fit out, everything that comes with it.
Yeah.
But that's something that I'm taking on. I'm not asking the team to do that. I'm taking this on. I'm laying the foundations for the team to go. When you come in, it's white line fever. And when you look at any sporting team that invests heavily into their training facility, they're going to get better results off the back of that as well. And our team very rarely work from home. Thursdays is the only work from home day. The conversations happen in the office together. The energy happens in the office together. The magic happens when we can hear one another as well. I'll speak openly about our team. No one says I'm confused or overwhelmed. That language has no place. We're not running an adult daycare center. You're all adults paid decent dollars to figure out real problems. Show up. And that has to happen from the top down. And I genuinely say that's where our team have really thrived, is just going, hey, mate, no problem's too big to solve. We can find ways. End of the day, it's mortgage broking. In fact, it really can't be that hard. It just needs to be a bit resourceful.
Yeah. Love it. Sounds like a lot is going on. Lots are going on. Can't wait to see the office when it's done.
I can't wait to have you down there.
Yeah, have a little nosy around. And looking forward to seeing what else is going on in Atelier Wealth. If you've got any questions for me or for Aaron, then do feel free to reach out. You can reach me, editor@theadvisor.com.au, and Aaron Christie-David at Atelier Wealth. Obviously, sounds like his door's open.
Annie, I'm telling you now, if anyone's listening and you want to come down, we're down in Thirroul at the moment, so a bit south of Sydney or Woonona. When we move down, my door is open. And it's something that Bernie and I are pretty open about, passionate about, which is any brokers that want to come down, we'll do an open day. Come in, show what we do, how do we operate, tech, whatever you want to know, open book, man, and just take it, implement it, and get to the next level.